Sir, step out of the vehicle. Now.
I can't. I'm being called in for emergency surgery.
Emergency surgery? What do you do? Maintenance?
I'm a neurosurgeon. A child is waiting on me.
Huh. Okay. License and registration.
Officer, they're already prepped. I really need to go.
I don't care who's waiting. You were speeding. You're not going anywhere.
Officer Mitchell had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 47 minutes, a 9-year-old girl would die on an operating table, a hospital would fall into chaos, and Mitchell would face one of the biggest civil rights lawsuits in state history. The doctor he just dismissed was Dr. James Carter. He was one of only 200 pediatric brain surgeons in the entire country. He'd trained at Johns Hopkins for 14 years. He'd published 37 medical studies. His surgical success rate was 98.7%. The hospital had been calling him over and over. A little girl had a brain bleed. She had minutes to live, not hours, minutes. And Officer Mitchell's dashcam was recording everything. Before I go on, let me ask you something. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone in power? Drop your answer in the comments below. But Officer Mitchell had no idea who he'd just pulled over. Dr. James William Carter was 42 years old. He was the chief of pediatric neurosurgery at Children's Memorial Hospital in Atlanta. That's a fancy way of saying he operated on kids' brains, and he was one of the best in the country. Dr. Carter graduated from Johns Hopkins Medical School at the top of his class in 2007. He did his training at Boston Children's Hospital from 2011 to 2015. He'd been doing surgery for 14 years. He'd written 37 articles in medical journals. His success rate was 98.7%. That's one of the highest in the entire Southeast. Here's the crazy part. There are only 200 doctors like him in the whole United States, out of 330 million people. He was that rare, that skilled. Atlanta magazine named him top doctor 4 years in a row. In 2023, he got a humanitarian award. He was a father of 2. He lived 12 minutes from the hospital. He was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He'd made this drive hundreds of times. On this Tuesday morning in March, Dr. Carter was just trying to save a child's life. Now here's what makes this even worse. Officer Derek Mitchell had a reputation in the DeKalb County Police Department, and not a good one. Derek Mitchell was 38 years old. He'd been a patrol officer for 11 years. Internal Affairs had 14 complaints filed against him in 7 years. 12 of those complaints involved black drivers. Not one resulted in any punishment. Let me give you examples. In February 2022, he pulled over a black attorney. The lawyer had a broken taillight. Mitchell kept him there for 45 minutes. The attorney filed a complaint. It was dismissed. In August 2023, he pulled over a black family coming home from church. He searched their car without permission. He found nothing. The family filed a complaint. It was ruled unfounded. In January 2024, on the same highway, he pulled over a black businessman. Mitchell refused to accept his work ID as real identification. He held him for 30 minutes. Other officers called him by-the-book Derek. That was code. It meant he enforced rules differently based on who he stopped. Officers avoided working with him on calls in minority neighborhoods. His supervisor gave him 3 written warnings for communication issues during traffic stops. He had to go to diversity training twice. Both times he checked the box that said, completed. Nobody followed up. Mitchell had a pattern. On March 19, 2024, that pattern was about to hit a case he couldn't dismiss. And cameras that wouldn't lie. Type justice in the comments if you think this matters. Tuesday, March 19, 2024, 6:47 in the morning. Interstate 285 eastbound. Just 2.3 miles from the Children's Memorial Hospital exit in DeKalb County, Georgia. Early morning rush hour was building. The sky was overcast. Inside Dr. Carter's black Mercedes, the hospital radio was playing emergency updates. His phone was ringing, over and over, the hospital, the surgical team, Emma's parents, all calling him. He was going 78 miles per hour in a 65 zone. He had a hospital emergency. Officer Mitchell pulled out behind him at 6:47 a.m. He turned on his lights. He followed for almost half a mile. Dr. Carter pulled over right away. He put his hazards on. He rolled down his window. His hands were visible. Mitchell walked up with his hand on his weapon. Dr. Carter explained it was an emergency. He showed his hospital ID badge. Mitchell dismissed it. "Anyone can get a fake ID," he said. The phone rang again, the hospital calling. Mitchell ordered him not to answer it. At the hospital, Emma Rodriguez was coding. Her backup surgeon was 90 minutes away. There was no other qualified brain surgeon within 200 miles. At 6:51 a.m., 4 minutes into the stop, Emma's brain pressure hit critical levels. If stories like this matter to you, hit that subscribe button. That's when everything changed. Carter asked to call the hospital back. Mitchell refused. He demanded Carter stop talking. Carter showed his phone screen, 17 missed calls from CMH emergency. Mitchell said it was not his problem. Carter explained a child was dying. Mitchell accused him of making up story. Ease to get out of a ticket. Carter offered to have a police escort to the hospital. Mitchell said, "You're not going anywhere until I'm done here." Carter's voice broke. He begged for just 10 minutes. Mitchell ordered him to calm down or I'll add charges. Other people were watching now. A passing driver slowed down. He pulled out his phone. He started recording. Another driver called 911. She reported an officer holding someone who says they're a doctor. A third person pulled over. She was a nurse at the same hospital. She recognized Dr. Carter's car. The nurse walked up. "Officer, that's Dr. Carter. He really is a neurosurgeon. I work with him." Mitchell's response, "Ma'am, get back in your vehicle or you'll be detained too." At 6:58 a.m., Mitchell ordered Carter out of his vehicle. Carter got out. His hands were up. He was begging to just call the hospital. Mitchell started a field sobriety test. There were no signs Carter was drunk or on drugs. None. Carter's phone rang for the 23rd time. Mitchell threatened to take it away. It had been 11 minutes. Emma had maybe 5 to 10 minutes before her brain would be damaged forever. Let me know in the comments what you would do in this situation. What Officer Mitchell didn't know was that 3 different cameras were recording, and the hospital had just made a decision that would change everything. 7:03 a.m. The hospital administrator called 911. She reported, "A police officer is stopping our emergency surgeon from reaching a dying child." The 911 dispatcher called the DeKalb police supervisor right away. The supervisor radioed Mitchell. "Unit 847, what's your status on the I-285 stop?" Mitchell responded, "Routine traffic stop. Subject claims to be a doctor." The supervisor said, "Stand by. Hospital is calling it a medical emergency." The supervisor ran Carter's license. Medical license verified. Hospital credentials verified. Emergency provider status verified. Everything checked out. Mitchell's radio crackled. "Let him go, now, that's a direct order." Mitchell refused. "I don't care what his paperwork says. He was speeding. He'll get there when I'm done." The supervisor repeated, "Let him go, now, that's a direct order." Mitchell said, "Negative. I'm conducting a legitimate stop." The nurse on scene called the supervisor directly. Her name was Sarah Williams. She was 34. She worked in the Children's Memorial ICU. She told him, "I've watched Dr. Carter save 30 kids. He doesn't lie. If he says emergency, it's life or death." A passing driver named David Chen started recording video. He was 41 years old. He recorded for 6 minutes. He posted it to Twitter while it was happening. His caption said, "Cop literally won't let doctor go to save a kid. This is insane." Another 911 caller stayed on the scene. Her name was Jennifer Hughes. She was 52. She told the dispatcher, "The doctor is crying. He keeps saying a little girl is dying. The officer won't listen." All of this was being recorded. Mitchell's dashcam caught the full stop. Every word. 3 witnesses had cell phone videos. 2 911 calls were recorded. The hospital had records showing 34 calls to Dr. Carter. Radio traffic between Mitchell and his supervisor was all on tape. At 7:09 a.m., a patrol sergeant was sent to the scene. Lights and sirens. He arrived at 7:12 a.m. He ordered Mitchell to end the stop immediately. Mitchell still wouldn't let it go. He wrote out a speeding ticket. He made Carter sign it before he would let him leave. Carter raced to the hospital. He got there at 7:19 a.m. That was 32 minutes after Mitchell first pulled him over. Here's the part that breaks your heart. Emma Rodriguez died at 7:14 a.m., 5 minutes before Carter arrived. The medical examiner would later say this: with timely surgery, this patient had an 85 to 90% chance of survival. Wait until you hear what happened next. By 7:30 a.m., Officer Mitchell was starting to understand how badly he'd messed up, but it was already too late. Internal Affairs Captain Marcus Johnson was assigned to the case that same day. He was 51 years old. He'd been with the department for 26 years. He didn't waste time. He reviewed all the dashcam footage, 32 minutes, every word exchanged. He pulled Mitchell's radio communications. He interviewed the 3 witnesses at the scene. He got the hospital records showing 34 call attempts. He reviewed Mitchell's personnel file, all 14 prior complaints. Mitchell tried to defend himself. His story fell apart fast. Mitchell claimed Carter was belligerent and uncooperative. The dashcam showed Carter was calm. His hands were visible. His voice stayed steady until 18 minutes in. Mitchell said he suspected impairment. The dashcam showed no slurred speech. Carter passed all field sobriety tests. Mitchell never even asked for a breathalyzer. Mitchell reported it was a routine stop, appropriate duration. The radio logs proved his supervisor ordered him to let Carter go at 7:03. That was 16 minutes in. Mitchell L. refused. He kept Carter there until 7:17. That's 30 minutes total. The hospital administrator gave a statement. We told him it was life or death. He said it wasn't his problem. At 7:20 a.m., Emma's parents were told their daughter died, while the surgeon was detained by police. The official decisions came fast. Mitchell was suspended with pay on March 19. Full internal affairs investigation opened March 20. The district attorney was notified on March 21. The FBI Civil Rights Division was contacted on March 22. Mitchell went through stages: denial first. I was doing my job, I didn't know. Then anger. He accused his supervisor of second-guessing officer safety decisions. Then desperation. His union rep put out a statement. They called it Monday morning quarterbacking. The aftermath was immediate. Dr. Carter had to be sedated by his colleagues. He couldn't do surgeries for 3 days. The hospital staff held a memorial for Emma. 17 other drivers came forward. They all had similar stories about Mitchell. Local news crews showed up at the police station by 2 p.m. If you think this needs to change, hit that subscribe button. But the consequences were just beginning. Someone had uploaded the video. By 10:30 a.m. the same day, David Chen's 6-minute video was on Twitter. By 11:45 a.m., it had 50,000 views. The hashtag #LetTheDoctorGo was trending locally. By 1:00 p.m., CNN picked up the story, 200,000 views. By 3:30 p.m., all 3 Atlanta TV stations led with it, 1.2 million views. By 6:00 p.m., it was on national news. NBC, ABC, CBS. It was trending #1 on Twitter, 4.8 million views. By midnight, 12.3 million views across TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit. The numbers were massive. On Twitter, 12.3 million views, 890,000 shares. Justice for Emma was trending worldwide. On TikTok, 47 reaction videos, combined 8.2 million views. On Reddit, it hit the front page, 67,000 upvotes, 8,900 comments. On Instagram, 340 accounts with over 1 million followers reposted it. People were angry. One comment said, "A 9-year-old died because a cop's ego mattered more than her life." It got 234,000 likes. Another said, "This is what racism looks like. He saw a black man in a nice car and assumed criminal." 189,000 likes. A third said, The hospital called 911. The supervisor ordered him released. He refused. That's not protocol. That's murder. 156,000 likes. 340 doctors shared it with the hashtag #IamDrCarter. They described similar traffic stop experiences. Major news outlets covered it. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the New York Times, the Washington Post-Time magazine, even The Guardian in the UK. The DeKalb County Police Chief held a press conference at 6 p.m. This incident does not represent our department. Full investigation underway. The police union put out a statement at 7 p.m. Officer Mitchell followed procedure, tragic outcome, but not his fault. It failed immediately. The dashcam video proved he didn't follow procedure. The supervisor's order on tape proved he refused to obey. Comment below what you think about what went viral. 3 days later, Emma Rodriguez's funeral drew 600 people. Officer Mitchell showed up. The family's attorney was watching. On April 15, 2024, the Rodriguez family filed a federal civil rights lawsuit. They named Officer Mitchell, DeKalb County, and the police chief. The claims: wrongful death, civil rights violations, racial profiling, intentional infliction of emotional distress. They asked for $50 million. On May 1, Dr. Carter filed his own lawsuit: emotional distress, violation of medical provider protections. He asked for $5 million. The discovery phase revealed everything. Mitchell's 14 prior complaints, 12 involved black drivers. The department knew about the pattern. They took no real action. Training records showed Mitchell scored lowest in de-escalation and cultural competency. Text messages between Mitchell and other officers contained racial jokes. More evidence came out. Mitchell had delayed calling his supervisor for 8 extra minutes after the first request. Depositions revealed 6 other doctors detained by Mitchell during medical emergencies between 2019 and 2024. 4 were black, 2 were Hispanic. He was never disciplined. In November 2024, they reached a settlement. The total, $27.3 million. The Rodriguez family got $22 million. Dr. Carter got $3.8 million. Attorney fees were $1.5 million. The department agreed to spend $2.5 million every year on training and oversight. Mitchell's consequences: he was fired in June 2024. His state certification was revoked. He's banned from law enforcement in Georgia. He was named in a federal investigation. He can't work security. He can't have a firearms license. He's unemployable in law enforcement anywhere in the country. The legal consequences continued. Federal civil rights charges were filed in August 2024. Mitchell pled guilty to deprivation of rights under color of law. In December 2024, he was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. After that, 3 years supervised release. The Rodriguez family got a permanent restraining order against him. The department faced consequences too. The police chief resigned in July 2024. The Department of Justice required 5 years of federal oversight. 47 officers had to go through extra training. New policy: any medical emergency claim must be verified immediately through dispatch. Mitchell wrote an apology in September 2024. "I made a terrible mistake. I'm sorry." The family rejected it. Sorry doesn't bring Emma back. Dr. Carter made a statement: "No amount of money fixes what happened, but maybe this makes the next officer think twice before letting bias override humanity." The amount they paid shows how wrong this was, but the story didn't end with money or Mitchell behind bars. Dr. Carter held a press conference outside Children's Memorial Hospital in December 2024. This was right after Mitchell's sentencing. His words hit hard. "I've done over 800 surgeries in my career. I've saved children who had minutes to live. On March 19, I couldn't save Emma, not because I didn't have the skill, but because someone didn't believe I was worthy of trust." He had to get trauma counseling for 6 months. He still fights panic during emergency calls. His relationship with law enforcement is permanently damaged. "I had resources, a law degree, colleagues who vouched for me, hospital administrators making calls. Most people pulled over don't have that. If this happened to me, someone with credentials, status, and proof, imagine what happens to people without any of that. He shared a fact. Every year, 40 medical professionals report being delayed by law enforcement during emergencies. There's no national system that tracks it. You don't have to accept abuse because someone has authority. You have rights, you have dignity, and there are people who will fight for you. His message to officers: authority is not permission to ignore humanity. A badge doesn't make you right, and consequences are real when you choose ego over life. What does he want? A federal database tracking law enforcement delays of medical workers, required protocols for checking claimed emergencies, accountability that doesn't take a child's death to trigger. He thanked the hospital staff who testified, the witnesses who recorded, Emma's parents for their courage. His closing words: Emma Rodriguez was 9 years old. She wanted to be a veterinarian. She'll never get that chance because someone decided his authority mattered more than her life. We can't bring her back, but we can make sure her death meant something. This case exposed something bigger than one officer. This isn't just about one cop. Police issue over 20 million traffic tickets every year. Black drivers are 20% more likely to be stopped than white drivers. They're searched twice as often. There's no federal system that tracks medical emergency delays by police. A 2023 study found this: 63% of black medical professionals report being questioned about their credentials by police. This case was different because Dr. Carter had resources, he had hospital backing, he had clear evidence, he had media attention. Emma's death made it impossible to ignore. What changed? DeKalb County now requires immediate verification of any medical emergency. 47 Georgia departments adopted similar policies, but there's still no federal law, no national database. Qualified immunity still protects most officer decisions. So let me ask you, do we really need a 9-year-old to die before we believe a black doctor when he says there's an emergency? Do we really think 14 complaints with no punishment is a system that works? Do we really accept that Mitchell only faced justice because the victim was too qualified to dismiss and the death was too public to ignore? Because if we don't change how we train officers to recognize their bias, if we don't create systems that verify emergencies instead of assuming lies, if we don't hold departments accountable for ignoring patterns, then we're just waiting for the next Derek Mitchell, the next Dr. Carter, the next Emma Rodriguez who dies because someone's ego mattered more than their life. Comment below if you believe qualified immunity needs reform. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these patterns. We're going to keep demanding accountability. We're going to keep fighting for the Emma Rodriguezes who can't fight for themselves, for the Dr. Carters who deserve to be believed, for a system that values life over authority. This isn't just about one racist cop or one dead child. It's about all of us and whether we are willing to demand better before the next tragedy. See you in the next one.